Have you ever revisited a story, maybe a film you've seen, I don't know, countless times, thinking you know it inside out,
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
then suddenly you spot something new, a layer you just completely missed before?
hmm Like finding a hidden room in your own house.
Exactly. Well, that's pretty much what we're going to do today. We are diving deep into Christopher Nolan's 2008 film, The Dark Knight.
A classic.
Right. And look, it's easy to just label it a superhero movie, but it's so much more. It was like a cultural phenomenon. It redefined the genre, didn't it?
Absolutely. It's consistently listed as one of the greats for a reason.
And it goes way beyond just action. Sure, there's the cape, the cowl, but underneath,
Wow.
wow. It's this really profound, sometimes pretty unsettling look at human nature, society, chaos, and what heroism actually really costs.
That's a perfect way to put it. And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We're going to, dissect the film's narrative, which is pretty elaborate, almost operatic, really.
Yeah.
We'll look at the character arcs, which are incredibly complex, and those big philosophical questions the film just throws at you, often without giving any easy answers.
Right, it doesn't handhold.
Not at all. The goal here is to pull out those nuggets of insight, the things that make it stick with us.
Yeah,
Why are we still talking about it so intensely over a decade later?
good question.
We'll look at how chaos isn't just like a plot point, but something actively cultivated, weaponized even. How heroism gets pushed right to the edge, to its breaking point, and what the legacy of its themes, which are challenging, tells us about our own world.
So basically, get ready to look past the mask, past the gadgets. This deep dive, we hope it gives you a shortcut to really understanding the intricate stuff, the dynamics, the surprising, sometimes uncomfortable truths woven into this movie.
Mhm.
By the end, hopefully you'll feel really well informed about The Dark Knight and maybe, just maybe, see its genius in a whole new light. Appreciate its impact, not just on movies, but maybe on how we think about what a quote-unquote superhero story can actually do.
Yeah, its reach is undeniable.
Okay, so let's start where the film starts, the absolutely unforgettable opening. The bank heist.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Just chilling from the first frame.
Right. It's so meticulously executed, sets this clinical, almost surgical tone immediately. You've got these guys in clown masks moving with this, like, practiced precision.
Yeah, the choreography is amazing.
And they're all communicating, doing their specific jobs, seems logical, right? But then they start eliminating each other, one by one, following instructions. It's this grim, self-destructing purge.
Brutal efficiency. Loyalty means nothing in that system.
Exactly. It's just discarded, all leading down to one single terrifying survivor. It's just a really unsettling way to kick things off. Tells you everything about the storm that's coming to Gotham.
And it's so economical, isn't it?
Yeah.
How disturbingly it establishes the main antagonist right there in minutes.
Yeah.
The last man standing, the orchestrator of this whole deadly game, pulls off his mask.
Hmm.
And it's the Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker, obviously, in a performance that became instantly legendary. He gets away with the money, sure, but you get the sense immediately that the money, it's almost irrelevant. It's secondary to the act itself.
Yeah, the performance of it all.
Exactly. This opening just stamps him as this completely new kind of criminal. Unprecedented. He's not after wealth or power in the usual way. He actually thrives on chaos, on, ripping open the fragile seams of order.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a bank robbery. It's like a declaration, a paradigm shift for Gotham's underworld. A really dark prophecy.
And you've hit on something really key there and deeply unsettling. If he doesn't care about money or power, what does that actually mean? How can Batman possibly fight that?
It changes all the rules.
Totally. You can't bargain with him. You can't buy him off. You can't predict his next move based on, like, profit motive or control.
No leverage.
None. The Joker doesn't want a bigger piece of the pie. He wants to, like you said, burn the whole bakery down just to watch.
Pure nihilism.
Yeah. Pure, unadulterated nihilism.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying. It's an almost insurmountable challenge for any system, any hero, any idea of order. That opening wasn't just a robbery. It was his, like, chaotic debutante ball,
Right.
a surgical strike on Gotham's sense of safety.
And when a war like that gets declared, the stakes for Gotham's protectors, which were already high, just skyrocket. They become terrifyingly high.
Right.
So as this new kind of chaos starts brewing, Gotham is still kind of clinging to this beacon of hope, this unofficial but pretty powerful alliance.
The trio.
The trio, exactly. You've got Batman, of course. Gotham's Dark Knight, still relatively early days for him, driven by his past but committed to this ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Lieutenant James Gordon, Gary Oldman, Just fantastic. A genuinely dedicated, incorruptible cop trying to navigate this incredibly corrupt system.
A rare, honest man in the GCPD.
Totally.
Yeah.
And crucially, the new DA, Gotham's charismatic, incredibly smart district attorney, Harvey Dent, Aaron Eckhart.
Gotham's White Knight.
That's him. So this trio forms this powerful, maybe unofficial, but very real alliance. And they have one clear mission: take down organized crime in Gotham for good.
And Harvey Dent really is the linchpin of that hope, isn't he? He's got the charisma, he's fearless, great speaker, and he's deeply, like, almost unshakably idealistic.
Yeah, he believes in the system.
He does. He's not just another DA. He's the public face of hope. The White Knight everyone can see working within the law in the daylight.
Which is exactly what Bruce Wayne wants.
Exactly. Bruce, behind the cowl, sees something really profound in Dent, something potentially more lasting than his own vigilante thing.
It's success.
Kind of. He thinks Dent could eventually take over as Gotham's protector, fighting crime legally, through the courts, out in the open.
Which would let Bruce Wayne hang up the cape.
Right. That's the dream, isn't it? A future where he could actually stop being Batman, where Gotham is safe enough that it doesn't need a masked guy jumping off rooftops. So this alliance, it's not just politics. It sets up this huge, fragile hope for Gotham's future. A future in the daylight.
And for a little while, it actually works. It's incredibly effective. There's this genuine sense of optimism, something Gotham hasn't really felt in, well, maybe ever.
Yeah, they're making real progress.
Huge progress. Their combined efforts put serious, undeniable pressure on the mob. They're seizing massive amounts of assets, orchestrating these big arrests of key figures.
Disrupting everything.
Totally disrupting the old order. But this success, while it's great for the city, it kind of inadvertently creates the perfect vacuum for the Joker to really step in.
Right, it pushes the mob into a corner.
Exactly. Makes them desperate. And desperate people make, well, fatal decisions, which is exactly what happens next.
And that desperation, that fear of losing everything, that takes us right into the next stage, the escalation of anarchy. So the crime syndicate, they're reeling from Batman and Dent's success.
They're panicked.
Totally panicked. Their whole way of life, their criminal empires, the structures that have held them up for decades, it's all crumbling. You see these bosses used to being in control, just visibly shaken.
Losing their grip.
Big time. So they call this desperate secret meeting. All the big players, the crime bosses, getting together, trying to figure out, okay, what do we do about this assault on our power, our money?
Yeah, they're cornered.
And we all know what happens when powerful people get cornered. They do stupid, short-sighted, usually self-destructive things.
And right on cue.
Yeah.
The Joker. It's brilliant how he just capitalizes on that raw desperation.
He just walks in.
What more like crashes in.
He interrupts the super secret meeting, not invited, just appears. This unwelcome, terrifying force,
The makeup, the smile.
instantly dominates the room, and he makes this bold proposal: kill the Batman for them. But the price tag is steep. Half of their money.
Halves.
Half. And it's not really a negotiation, it's just a demand.
Yeah.
Delivered with this chilling certainty.
And the mob. They must hate this guy.
Oh, they do. They resist at first. They're old school, They have their codes, weirdly enough. They're wary of someone this unpredictable, this unhinged.
But then Batman pulls off that incredible move, capturing Lau, their accountant, the guy hiding all their cash offshore in Hong Kong.
Right, the extradition scene.
Exactly. Suddenly their lifeline is cut. Their whole operation is about to collapse. They've got no other options, really. They're scared of Batman, scared of Dent.
So they make a deal with the devil.
They reluctantly agree to the Joker's monstrous proposal. And that moment right there is critical. The mob basically empowers the very chaos that's going to destroy them, a decision they will absolutely regret.
And once he has their backing, even reluctantly, the Joker just unleashes. He wastes zero time cranking up the chaos.
Calculated chaos, though. That's key.
Right. It's not random. His demands for Batman to unmask, those aren't just threats. They're public challenges designed to sow fear, distrust, hit the city's identity.
Undermine the symbol.
Totally. And then he escalates so quickly. The murders commissioner, Loeb, Judge Cirillo, figures representing the police, the law.
Loses the establishment.
Exactly. Then the attempt on the mayor during that public ceremony, it's a direct surgical assault on Gotham's sense of order, systematically taking down every institution the city relies on.
He's showing them, with terrifying clarity, just how brittle their systems are, how vulnerable their leaders are, how hope is just an illusion to him.
So how do you even fight that? A threat that doesn't want to rule, just wants to corrupt. to prove everyone's as bad as he is.
Well, Harvey Dent tries something pretty clever, actually. Responding to Joker's public demands, Dent, with that typical fearlessness and legal smarts,
He bluffs.
he bluffs,
Yeah.
tricks the media, announces publicly that he is Batman.
Wow, bold move.
Incredibly bold, hoping to lure the Joker out, protect the real Batman's identity, protect the symbol. It shows his idealism, his strategic mind, his willingness to put himself right in the line of fire.
Does it work?
The Joker takes the bait, predictably, attacks Dent's convoy in that massive street chase sequence.
The truck flip?
The truck flip, exactly. And for a moment, just a brief shining moment, it looks like the good guys won. Batman and Gordon, using clever tactics and, Batman's skills, they actually capture the Joker.
Huge win, right.
It seems like it. But that's the genius of the Joker's plan. This apparent victory, this capture, it's just a setup. It's merely act one of his real, much more insidious, much more devastating plan. He wanted to be caught.
Oh, man. Okay, so that capture leads right into arguably the film's most iconic scene, maybe one of the most iconic scenes in modern cinema, the interrogation.
Absolutely. The atmosphere in that room.
Right, the cold, sterile Gotham police interrogation room. It becomes this crucible, this clash of ideologies, good versus evil almost.
Primal.
Batman stoic, order, discipline, morality, facing the Joker gleeful prophet of chaos, anarchy, nihilism.
It's not a physical fight.
No, that's what's so brilliant. It's not about Batman trying to beat information out of him. It's this brutal psychological showdown, a battle for Gotham's soul, fought with words and mind games.
And Batman is terrifyingly outmatched in that arena.
He really is. The Joker's playing a different game entirely.
And the way Nolan directs it, the Joker isn't just giving up info. He's orchestrating this cruel, agonizing choice for Batman. Almost theatrical.
By recording.
Yeah, with that chilling, almost delighted tone, he tells Batman that both Rachel Dawes, Bruce's love, his moral anchor, and Harvey Dent Gotham's White Knight have been kidnapped.
Both?
Both. Separate locations, rigged with explosives.
Oh my God.
It's not just kidnapping, it's meticulously planned torture. A psychological experiment designed to break Batman's spirit, shatter his principle.
Force him to choose.
Exactly. An impossible, unwinnable ethical dilemma. Save the woman he loves or save the man who represents Gotham's legitimate hope for the future. The choice itself is agony.
There's no right answer.
None.
Yeah.
And then, the final twist of the knife.
This is where it gets really, truly devastating, isn't it?
It is. The Joker, the ultimate manipulator, reveals his final cruel trick. He gives Batman the addresses.
But he switches them.
He gives them in reverse. Batman, desperate, driven by love, races to where he thinks Rachel is.
And finds Dent.
Finds Dent, saves him, pulls him out just before the explosion. But Rachel dies in the other blast, a casualty of the Joker's sick game.
Just gut-wrenching.
It's the core cataclysmic turning point. For everyone, for Batman, it's this deep personal loss, a profound failure where his best efforts led to unbearable pain.
And for Gotham.
The beginning of the end for its public hope. And for Harvey Dent, it's the catalyst, literal and metaphorical, for this unimaginable, grotesque transformation.
The birth of Two-Face.
The birth of Two-Face. The Joker, the architect of chaos, achieves his greatest, most chilling victory right there.
It's not just the physical scars, is it?
No, the explosion horribly disfigures Dent's face, burns the left half, leaves that grotesque scar. But the physical wound, awful as it is, just mirrors the emotional scar, the deep festering wound from Rachel's death and the Joker's poisonous whispers.
He breaks him.
Completely. Enraged, broken, grief-stricken, and just, deeply manipulated by the Joker's nihilistic logic, Dent abandons everything he stood for. The White Knight collapses, embraces pure, vengeful anarchy.
Seeking revenge.
Yeah, he decides to punish everyone he blames. But his method, chillingly arbitrary. He uses his lucky two-headed coin, now scarred on one side.
A coin toss.
The coin toss decides their fate. This descent into random, unfeeling justice. It horrifyingly mirrors the chaos he now embodies. That's the Joker's true win, corrupting Gotham's brightest hope, proving his point that even the best can fall.
And the Joker's not finished, even after being caught. He escapes custody, right?
Of course he does. Orchestrates this cunning escape, basically proving no jail can hold him, and just picks up where he left off. More havoc. Still determined to prove his point about humanity's inherent darkness.
Which leads to the fairies.
His ultimate social experiment, yeah. A chilling, large-scale test of human nature, designed to prove that if you push people hard enough, society just dissolves, reverts to primal chaos.
So he rigs two fairies with explosives.
One full of ordinary civilians escaping the city, the other carrying prisoners being transferred.
Oh, man.
And each boat gets the detonator for the other ferry.
No.
And the ultimatum is simple and horrifying. If one boat doesn't blow up the other by midnight, he blows up both.
It's the prisoner's dilemma, writ large.
Exactly. Pure game theory horror,
Mm.
forcing people into betraying their own morality just to survive. Will self-interest win out?
What happens? It's such a tense sequence.
It really is. But this is where the film offers this powerful counterpoint to the Joker's darkness. Despite the pressure, the ticking clock, Joker's absolute certainty that self-preservation would trump morality.
They don't do it.
Neither group chooses to kill the other.
Mm.
The civilians, they struggle, they argue fear versus conscience. But ultimately, they can't push the button.
Wow.
And then, in this really surprising kind of moving moment, it's the prisoners,
Yeah.
led by this one imposing inmate.
Yeah.
They're the ones who throw their detonator overboard
It's
first.
the prisoners.
Yeah. Directly defying the Joker's cynical belief that everyone turns ugly when pushed. It says something profound, I think, about humanity. Even under extreme stress, there's this stubborn spark of empathy, maybe, moral integrity that resists chaos.
A glimmer of hope.
A glimmer the Joker couldn't extinguish. His worldview, terrifying as it is, isn't entirely right. Humanity's got a bit more grit than he thinks.
But even with that moment, Batman still has to face the Joker himself, right? The final confrontation.
He does. He tracks him down to the building overlooking the ferries, stops his plan, and crucially, in this final brutal fight, Batman absolutely refuses to kill him.
His one rule.
His one rule. Despite the Joker doing everything he can, taunting him, trying to push him over the edge, trying to prove they're the same, Batman won't break it.
He holds on to his code.
He does. Reinforces that unwavering moral stance, even against pure anarchy, a force that exists to break rules. So the Joker's taken into custody. But like you said earlier, he's already won, in a way.
Because he broke Dent?
He broke Dent. He corrupted Gotham's White Knight. He proved his point, or at least he thinks he did, about how fragile idealism really is.
And while Batman deals with the Joker, the Two-Face tragedy plays out its final act.
Horrifyingly, yes. Dent, now fully consumed by Two-Face, blames Gordon for Rachel's death. Uses that twisted coin logic.
And kidnaps Gordon's family.
Kidnaps Gordon's family, holds them at gunpoint where Rachel died. It's the moment Gotham's last symbol of hope threatens to completely annihilate itself.
Batman has to intervene.
He arrives just as Dent is about to flip the coin for Gordon's young son. It's agonizing. And in that critical moment, before Dent can kill the boy, Batman tackles him.
Off the ledge.
Off the ledge. They both fall. Dent dies.
Oh, man. Batman kills him.
It's ambiguous if it was intentional killing versus stopping him, but Dent dies as a result of Batman's actions to save the boy. It's an impossible choice, a devastating sacrifice, but one Batman feels he has to make to save an innocent, protect Gordon's family. Upholding his own core principle, even at that terrible cost.
And Dent's death, that's not just a tragedy. It sets up the ultimate burden for Batman, doesn't it? The big lie.
The big necessary lie. To preserve Dent's image, the White Knight symbol Gotham still needs, and to stop the Joker from getting the last laugh, proving even heroes can be corrupted, Batman and Gordon make this monumental, agonizing pact.
They cover up Dent's crimes.
They cover it all up. Create a false narrative where Dent died a hero, and Batman, he takes the fall. He takes the blame for the murders Dent committed as Two-Face.
He becomes the villain.
Transforms from the city's feared but sometimes celebrated hero into a hunted fugitive. Gordon, heart heavy, smashes the bat signal, signifying Batman's public retreat, cementing his outcast status.
Wow.
And that leads straight into Gordon's iconic final voiceover.
Yeah.
That powerful epilogue that just perfectly unpacks the immense, unjust weight Batman now carries.
He's the hero Gotham deserves.
But not the one it needs right now, so we'll hunt him. Because he can take it. Because he's not our hero. He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight.
Chills every time.
Right. It just encapsulates that profound shift. His public image versus his true purpose. He deserves praise for his sacrifices, for saving Gordon's family, for stopping Dent. But Gotham needs a scapegoat, needs to believe in the lie of Dent's perfection.
So he bears the city's sins.
Willingly. Sacrifices his reputation, his acceptance for the city's soul. Becomes that silent guardian operating unseen, hunted by the very people he protects. Accepting this unjust burden for the greater good of a city that can't handle the truth right now.
Okay, so what an incredible journey through the plot. Let's try and unpack some of those big, enduring themes that make this film stick with us so much.
Definitely. There's so much there.
At its absolute core, it feels like this epic battle between chaos and order, right?
Yeah,
Locked in this deadly fight.
absolutely. And the Joker is the ultimate agent of chaos. We talked about it. He's not motivated by money or power or anything conventional.
His goal is just to expose fragility.
Exactly. To prove morality is a sham, society's structures are weak, and deep down, everyone's just waiting for a push to descend into anarchy. He wants to tear it all down, not to rebuild, just to watch it burn.
Which then forces the question, doesn't it? What are the limits of order when you're facing that kind of absolute chaos?
Mm-hmm. And you contrast Joker's nihilism with Batman's relentless drive for order. Batman wants justice, protection, stability. But facing the Joker, he has to constantly grapple with the ethical cost of his fight.
How far can you go?
How far can you push your own rules? How much can you compromise your principles before you start looking like the thing you're fighting?
The abyss gazing back.
Precisely. Can maintaining order sometimes require compromises that, threaten the hero's own soul? The Joker forces Batman to face that maybe his rigid code, his one rule, isn't enough against someone with no rules at all, someone who loves the chaos.
And that leads right into the next big theme. What even is heroism? The film really challenges the easy answers, doesn't it?
It really does. Is it the symbol? The guy in the cape swooping in, getting the glory, like Batman sometimes is?
Or is it the public champion? The white knight, like Dent, fighting within the system transparently?
Is real heroism something else? Is it the willingness to make that ultimate, unheralded sacrifice? Give up your reputation, your freedom, become a pariah, all for the greater good.
The film seems to lean towards the latter, doesn't it? That heroism is messy, thankless, and way more complicated than just punching bad guys.
I think so. And Harvey Dent's fall is just central to that exploration. He was Gotham's shining white knight, the symbol of hope, the guy who could do it legally.
And his corruption.
Driven by grief, manipulated by the Joker.
Yeah.
It just highlights how much pressure idealism is under in a corrupt, chaotic world, how vulnerable it is.
Can a hero withstand that much pressure before breaking?
And what does it say about us, about society, if our best hope can be so easily twisted, so poisoned? The film suggests idealism is powerful, yeah, but also incredibly fragile when malice specifically targets it.
Which brings us back to that incredibly tricky decision at the end, the necessary lie.
Oh, yeah. Batman and Gordon covering up Dent's crimes, keeping his heroic image intact. It's one of the film's toughest ethical questions.
Is it heroic to lie for public morale, for the collective good?
What does that say about leadership in desperate times? It really digs into the cost of maintaining faith when a city's on the brink.
Maybe sometimes the truth is just too damaging.
Maybe. Maybe a carefully built illusion is needed to stop total collapse. Nolan really confronts us with that uncomfortable possibility. Maybe the biggest heroic act isn't revealing truth, but carefully hiding it to preserve a fragile hope. Gotham's salvation hinges on a lie.
Wow. That idea of the necessary lie, it really does echo throughout, forcing you to think about all those impossible choices the characters face.
Definitely, like Batman choosing between Rachel and Dent. No good outcome there, just pure anguish.
Or the ferry passengers, deciding whether to kill to survive, self-preservation versus morality.
Right. These aren't just plot points. They're deep dives into morality under pressure, stripped bare. They force us, the audience, to ask, what would I do? Where are my limits?
And it all culminates, really, in Batman shouldering that immense burden, becoming the Dark Knight.
That final transformation. He completely redefines heroism, doesn't it? He goes from vigilante, sometimes celebrated, sometimes feared, to hunted fugitive, outcast by the city he saves.
His heroism isn't met with applause, but with pursuit.
Exactly. He becomes the silent guardian, the watchful protector, taking the city's hatred so it can keep believing in the lie of its white knight. It's incredibly lonely. Shows that maybe true heroism isn't about glory or being understood. It's about ultimate self-sacrifice, enduring isolation for something bigger.
What an incredible deep dive this has been. Seriously, peeling back the layers on a film you think you know so well.
It holds up to the scrutiny, doesn't it?
It really does. From that chilling opening bank heist, the introduction to Joker's chaos, through the rise and just heartbreaking fall of Harvey Dent and Batman's final impossible sacrifice, The Dark Knight is just so much more than a movie.
A profound exploration.
Yeah, of human nature, society's fragility, the crushing weight of heroism in a chaotic, morally gray world, the Joker's impact, Dent's tragedy, Batman becoming the hunted guardian. It all just stays with you, challenges you long after it's over.
And maybe, if we think about applying what we learn, What does the Dark Knight suggest about the heroes we deserve versus the ones we actually need in our own world?
That's a heavy
It
question.
is. It makes you wonder, are we as a society always ready for the unvarnished truth?
Hmm.
Or do we sometimes need those constructed narratives, those necessary lies, just to keep hope alive?
And what's the cost of that?
Exactly. What's the cost of that necessary heroism, that moral compromise to the individuals who have to bear that weight? It really pushes us to look beyond the surface, doesn't it? To think about leadership, truth, sacrifice, in a world where the lines between good and evil are rarely, if ever, clear-cut.